Peace and love, freedom and decolonization to all African people, those at home, those abroad, and those in the future. If you have two shoes, please sell one and buy a sword. If you have two trousers, please sell one and buy a sword, because now it is time for revolution. And this revolution is no longer on streets. This revolution is not about burning cars and make demands, but this revolution is about building our own cars, selling them, and make our own money. Essentially, this revolution is in the mind, because if we are not in charge of our mind, the enemy will control our mind and our bodies and make us the tools of self-destruction and self-enslavement. So once again, receive our revolutionary greetings from the African Continental Unity Party. My name is King Kabbalah. I'm happy to have you on our weekly conversation where we engage in thinking about the continent, about our lives, about our reality, and most importantly, about the African agenda, which is the liberation. So every day, every time, every week, we come in here, we make speeches, we talk. Some of them we post on social media, like in writing, Facebook, so forth and so on. And I think everything that we are talking or everything that we are writing, books, articles, can be summarized in one word: power. That's it. If we are today unable to feed ourselves, unable to look after ourselves, it's simply because we don't have the power to do that. If we are unable to treat ourselves when we are sick, if we are unable to produce what we want out of our land, and we have to wait for the Americans, the Chinese, the Indians to come and develop our land to produce the food that we want, it's simply because we don't have the power. And what is the power? It's a very important question, even though it might be sound as simplistic question, but it's important because many people really don't take time to think about certain things. We have imagination that only navigating around the clouds of other people, imagination and creation, but we don't take time to think for ourselves what power means to us as African people. And I'm reminded about Kwame Ture when he said that the people who have the power, or the people who aspire to power in this world, must be able to define their own terms and make those terms accepted by other people. That's it. That's it. When you talk about power, that is what you should aim for, to be able to define your own reality, your own term, your own politics, your own future, your own relationships, anything about you. Define those things and then make sure that the world accepts them and live by them. And that's power. And unfortunately, when you look at Africa and its people, what you realize that we have always been defined by other people, right? Whatever we think of in terms of politics, economy, education, whatever that we do and we brag about are the things that have been defined by other people, where they talk about democracy, human rights, and all those things. And Kwame Ture said something important as well. He said that whenever a nation is about to fall prey of other nation, or is about to be captured by other nation, they don't destroy anything about you. First and foremost, what they want to destroy about you is the capacity or the capability to define your own terms and make those terms accepted by other people. That's what they take away from you. And when they take away from you, they begin then to define you in the way that suit them. They can define you as a colony, they can define you as a property, they can define you as a slave, they can define you in any way that fits them, because they've taken away from you the power of self-definition and self-realization. And that is the condition in which we are living today as African people. That is why all our politics are geared toward what the Americans want to do, not what we want to do as African people. So, in other words, we are the object of other people's strategic goals. We don't have our own strategic goals. If we have any, it's to align ourselves with what other people want to achieve in the world, so that we can get the crumbs that are falling under their tables after they have gained all the benefits of whatever they were pursuing. And in most cases, if you realize it, it's very shameful, especially for Africans, because we get the crumbs out of our own exploitation. So we have people coming to Africa, exploit us, and we get paid from the crumbs from our own exploitation of our lands, our resources, our people, so forth and so on. And this is a very tragic reality of Africa that we cannot really live unchanged before this century ends. So I think this is very important that we have to discuss. And the bottom line, I guess, is that power is what we need. Power is everything that we need in Africa. It's not money, it's not infrastructure, it's not development, it's not economy, it's not all these nonsensical notions created in the West to distract us, cannot help us. It's only power, the only thing that will unlock us, our potential, and give us what we call liberation or freedom, power. And to have this power, to achieve this power, we have to break the boundaries that exist between us as African people. We have to unite. That's the reason why we're talking about African unity, not African union. That's circus. We're talking about the true African unity, which must be a mass movement, a unity of businesses, unity of trade, unity of education, so forth and so on. And most importantly, unity of our defense system, of our army, of our military, to defend and protect whatever economy or development that we want to achieve on the continent. Because without protection, whatever we are building, we have to make sure that we have to know that we are building it for the enemy to come and to steal it, without protection or defense. So this is actually just what I wanted to discuss with us today. Power is at the bottom of everything, and this topic of power is exactly the vision of the African Continental Unity Party. Our vision is to rebuild Africa as a global power base. Global power base. That's the vision that we have, because we believe that once Africa has gained her power, the resources of Africa will benefit African people. The land of Africa will be used for the needs of African people, and Africa will make sense to African people, so that African kids are not growing up with their dreams located in the West, where they are supposed to cross the Mediterranean water to join those visions, unfortunately to find out that they've turned into nightmare. That's reality of Africa today. So with the power, in a nutshell, we are able to recreate Africa as an African project, because the Africa in which we are living today remains in all shapes and forms a colonial project, which cannot work for our advantage. Reason why our resources are being taken every day, but we get nothing out of them. Mostly we get environmental destruction, land desertification, deforestation, all these things that we know that they cannot sustain life. So what is your take, dear African? Should you wish to build power, we invite you in the ACUP, African Continental Unity Party, so that together we can build this power and recreate Africa of our imagination and of our dream. Peace and love, freedom and decolonization to all African people, those at home, those abroad, and those in the future. We see you next time. Thank you and bye-bye.